Lane, Ollie McBurney's 102nd minute penalty secures a point for Sheffield United against West Ham in a 2-2 draw, with both sides ending the game with 10 men. We can hear from McBurney now.
Look, we're actually just trying to dissect what just happened at the end of that game. Ollie, have you ever been involved with anything like that?
No, I had everything really, didn't it? I thought the boys were excellent. I didn't think we deserved to lose in the game at the end there, and I think, we deserved at least a point, so it was good to get the equaliser in dramatic fashion at the end there.
You have got ice in your veins when it came to that penalty. For a start, it took an age.
Yeah, they love making us wait for the penalties these days with the VAR, but I just got to stay calm, let one of the other boys hold the ball so none of them can try get in your head, and then just pick your spot and go there. So I knew Fabs knew I was going to go to the other side, so a little reverse and nice to get the equaliser.
Yeah, was that tactical? Because James McAtee had the ball and was throwing up and looked awfully relaxed, and we were thinking, is he going to take it?
Yeah, no, it's the plan, so like you say, none of their players can come in and try and get in head, and you just concentrate on where you're going to pick the spot and score. Look,
it's a point today, but something about this feels like a win. The crowd at the end there, the way you all walked around. Is this what you needed?
Yeah, definitely. I think the performance was the main thing for us. I think the boys were excellent, and we keep performing like that against good teams and against teams in and around us, and we'll pick points up, and that's what we need to do, especially at home.
You feel like this is totally in your hands now? What happens the second half of the season?
Yeah, of course. We know we've got an uphill battle. We've put ourselves in a position that's going to be hard, but it's down to us, and we'll give it as good a go as we can, and do everything we can to stay in the division.
Well, you didn't know when you were beaten today. Well done. Enjoy this one.
Good to see you, Beck.
You've got to give Ollie McBurney and Sheffield United credit. I mean, one win in the last 10, 8 points adrift of safety. I mean, how important could that penalty be just to maybe kickstart their season? It's
massive. I remember when I was at Sunderland, we played against, I think it was Stoke, away. Similar to this, I got a penalty last minute in the game. And I took the penalty, scored, but going forward, it felt like a win after the game, because at some stage, we was poor on a day, didn't deserve to even get a point, and then you end up getting a point. You go in the change room, it feels like you've actually won. And I think going forward, I think it will help the group. I thought they were fantastic. I think James McAtee, I thought he was brilliant. The way that he got in between the lines, and when you've got individuals like that can do something, and those sort of players, then you've got a chance. Of course, it's going to be hard. We spoke up before, but I thought today, especially towards the end of the game, and even in the second half, they had a spell where they passed the ball quite well.
You were impressed by them.
Yeah, they passed the ball quite well in the second half, I thought. But, you get the penalty at the end, and that's when you need a cool head, to execute.
Let's have a look at the story of the second half, actually, David. West Ham got themselves a lead from the penalty spot. That was after Gus Harmer's challenge on Danny Ings. Was that the right call from Michael Salisbury, the referee?
Yeah, Danny Ings, fully deserved player of the match. Wonderful turn. Again, this is something which is indicative of Danny Ings' game today. And you see here, little ricochet, but his feet are so tight, he keeps the ball under control. And you say Harmer comes in, challenge from back, no question it's a foul in the box, penalty. And a bit like McBurney, if you want someone to take a penalty and you fancy they're going to score, then this man, James Ward-Prowse, who...
Specialist.
Yeah, he is a specialist.
But even Danny Ings there, I spoke before about, you've got, individuals that can just create something, and the ball comes into him, he turns, and he sort of gets through, it was like Suarez, the way he gets through and just gets a penalty. But I thought that, considering he's not played a lot of football, I felt that he was really sharp today.
Yeah, his first penalty for West Ham in the Premier League. But then, of course, Sheffield United, it went from bad to worse. Into injury time, they got reduced to 10 men. Ryan Brewster, given his marching orders for this challenge. I think both of you, when you saw this in tandem, basically said, that is a red. Although at the time, interestingly, the referee gave it a yellow.
I'll admit, I thought that the yellow could be right, because the first angle in full speed, I wasn't sure if Brewster was on or off the ground. But as you see the replay, that is a horrendous challenge, reckless, everything you want for a red card. He's done it, and I'm surprised that the referee gave the yellow.
The referee shouldn't have missed that. Because
Do you think it's as straightforward as that?
It's straightforward as that, yeah. Because I think, as a defender, you have to, at some point, you have to slow your feet down. Whether that's to block it or to tackle, you have to slow your feet down. At one stage, he slows his feet down, he just dived in. It's a red card. The referee shouldn't have missed that.
And the interesting thing about this is, Manish, that Kufal's remonstration towards either Brewster or the referee got him booked. which has a massive impact on the end of the game. Not that the referee should take what's going to happen afterwards, but if he gives a straight red, he can always review it with a VAR, go back to a yellow.
So obviously Bruce has been given a yellow. He's not happy. He's remonstrating. He gets a yellow for his troubles, but then puts in a foul here that leads to the penalty for Sheffield United. And this was a double whammy in many respects.
And this is the point. Now, again, Kufau's been booked and should be careful of what he does next, and that challenge theoretically is worth a yellow card, and therefore he gets a sending off.
Yeah.
But that has an impact on what happens in the next few minutes. And it wouldn't have happened had the referee given the red straight away. I'm not saying it's referee fault, but it's interesting how one
led to the other.
Yeah,
but when you see the
replay. Exactly. So when you see the replay, there was no question that was a red. And sometimes you would rather the referee go over and go, look, we're going to send him off, and I can always go back.
To be honest, it was more about his reaction, was it not, to the actual challenge and to the Sheffield United players, as opposed to going to the referee to have a word about it?
There are bits that we don't know here in the studio.
Yeah.
But interestingly, how that incident resulted in the yellow, followed by a quick second yellow.
Yeah.
And then what we're about to see.
Here we go. Ollie McBurney got a penalty. This was for Alphonse Areola and his failed attempt to clear the ball, and instead catching quite a bit of McBurney.
Yeah, I think Jamo's probably best bet to speak about this. I think the goalkeeper just sort of like just comes out. He's never gonna win it. I mean, any contact there and you see it's messy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
and then he goes down holding his head.
I did do that a couple of times when I was playing. As soon as that cross went in, I thought, please, you're not going to go for that. Areola was not set up to make that challenge. And even with Ollie McBurney there, you'd question, would he made the ball anyway? He seems to be missing it by quite a way there. And I think with Johnson on McBurney adding to the mix, and probably why the referee had to go to VAR to see if it was actually Areola's clear foul or McBurney fouling Areola. And I think Johnson's influenced that in a way that Areola was the one who committed the foul in the end. Yeah.
Now, we should clear one thing up. Alphonse Areola wasn't concussed, but he did suffer a cut in the collision here with McBurney. You can see the elbow just catching him, and that's why he went off the field of play. I mean, we spoke about rotating West Ham goalkeepers this season, not in the way that it actually turned out to be at Bramall Lane, because, of course, Areola went off, and then Lucas Fabianski, who's been mainly their cup goalkeeper, be it in Europe or in domestic cups. This would have been some story had he actually saved this as his first involvement, but it wasn't to be.
Well, Manish, if he'd have trained with me instead of Rob Green, I would have told him that. It was almost the magical substitution, wasn't it, for David Moyes. Unfortunately, for Fabianski, McBurney was better than him. And in the end, as I say, it just ended up being one of the craziest, entertaining finishes that I could have imagined.
Yeah, but at that point, 103 minutes on the clock, you think that's that. We still had time for another penalty shout, again for West Ham.
It's a penalty.
This on Jared Bowen. You think this is a penalty, Jermaine?
Yeah, because I think when you watch it here, you see him on a penalty spot, and then I think it's just wrestled him.
Yeah, but what chances he got? I mean, interestingly, at half-time, we showed the footage of the corners, where the manhandling of players and not being given as foul. I mean, that's essentially the same thing.
I actually think sometimes when you're in a box game and the ball comes into the box and you can see the defender's number, I think defenders panic. I think defender's in the wrong position. If you can get in between two centre-backs and you're in between, I think he panics and just wrestled him. For me, it's a penalty.
Let's have another look at this. Ahmed Ojic on Bowen.
I mean, what's he trying? He's not trying to play the ball. Jared Bowen is trying to go for the ball. You could argue there's possibly a bit of Bowen holding, but in the end, I mean, Ahmed Ojic has pushed him to the ground. I mean, that's a penalty.
Unbelievable. In the end, it finishes 2-2. Dare I say, David Moyes might have something to say that a little later here on Matchday Live.